Hi, I'm Dr. Maur from Skinspire Clinic. What are the difference between non-surgical and surgical facelift? In this video, I'll explain what each one does, what are the pros and cons, and how to decide what's right for your face. When we talk about non-surgical facelift, we talk about procedures such as thread lifts, ultrasound as well as radiofrequency skin tightening, and the use of fillers. Now, these procedures have the advantage of being lunch hour procedures. Basically, they're procedures which you can get done and go back to your daily activities almost immediately with minimal downtime. By contrast, a surgical facelift is an operating room procedure which is done under either complete general anesthesia or local anesthesia with a slight sedation. In a surgical facelift, we tighten and trim the extra skin and lift the tissue that has descended down as a result of aging. So what to expect from a non-surgical procedure? In non-surgical procedures such as thread lifts, what we do is we place absorbable threads under the skin to pull up the tissue that has descended down and thus tighten the skin. You might feel a slight pinch during the procedure, but you're back to work and your daily activities almost immediately. There is very minimal downtime. There may be slight complications like bruising, but these settle down in a period of 5 to 7 days. The other non-surgical procedure which we do for a facelift is fillers. Fillers are basically hyaluronic acid which is injected below the skin. This improves the volume as well as lifts up the descended tissue and tightens the skin. This is usually done in combination with a Botox or a thread lift. There are also some energy-based devices like ultrasound skin tightening as well as radiofrequency skin tightening. These energy-based procedures heat up the deep layers of the skin and stimulate collagen formation, which happens over a period of 3 to 6 months. However, these procedures need to be repeated every month to see a certain result. Let's look at some of the advantages of non-surgical procedures. For most people, the recovery is quite quick. This is a lunch hour procedure. The patient undergoes the procedure and is back to their daily activities almost immediately. There is minimal downtime. There are no incisions, no external scars, no telltale signs that a procedure has been done. These procedures create subtle changes to make the results almost natural. But non-surgical procedures come with certain disadvantages. Supposing you're a person who has a very heavy face and who has lost a lot of volume as a result of aging, non-surgical procedures are not sufficient for you. They can only lift your skin or tighten your skin to a certain extent. The other disadvantage of non-surgical facelifts are that they need to be repeated at regular intervals. These regular intervals can range from 6 to 18 months. Now let's talk about surgical facelift. To understand surgical facelift, we need to understand the process of aging. As a result of aging, there are two main changes that happen. One is the loss of volume in the face, which causes hollowness. The second is the result of gravity. The skin begins to descend down and we start to develop jowls as well as loose skin in all parts of our face. So a surgical facelift is basically an operating room procedure wherein we make small incisions right next to the ear and behind the ear as well as within the hairline to lift and reverse these signs of aging. Once this mass is tightened, we get a defined jawline. There is a lift of the midface as well as tightening of the skin of the neck. This gives a younger and rejuvenated look. The incisions are all concealed within the ear as well as the hairline. Along with the facelift, I usually do also something called as fat grafting, wherein I take fat from any other part of the body and I make it into a liquid form and inject it into the areas of volume loss. The advantage of any surgical facelift is that the result lasts for a period of 10 to 15 years. The other advantage of a surgical facelift is it caters to the problem. It tightens the muscle as well as volumizes the face, and these results are almost permanent. The usual recovery of a surgical facelift is around 2 weeks. You can expect some swelling and bruising to come up around 3 to 5 days after the procedure, but this completely resolves in 7 to 10 days. Whenever I do a surgical facelift, I also do a blepharoplasty and a brow lift. Only then you can get a complete, rejuvenated and natural transformation. As compared to non-surgical facelift, expect 2 weeks of recovery and no social activity. But after that, you can always expect a good natural result and a more permanent result. Let's answer some commonly asked questions. Can I combine both? More often than not, a surgical facelift once done, a patient may require some amount of touch-up procedures such as fillers or Botox to get a very natural transformation. A very commonly asked question is, will I look pulled? There's a very common deformity we see after a facelift which is called a wind-swept deformity. A good surgeon will always try to provide you with a natural result. So we tighten the skin and tighten the muscles only to give you a natural look. Any surgical procedure comes with the most common concern being, is the pain severe? Pain due to a surgical facelift can be easily managed with prescription painkillers, and usually after a week's time, the patient is very comfortable. Will there be any scars? A facelift is always planned in such a way that the incision is placed right along the ear, as well as any of the incisions needed for a brow lift or a blepharoplasty are placed in hidden areas. So for a blepharoplasty, we place it either within the eyelid or just below the eyelashes. For a brow lift, we place it within the hairline. These incisions heal very well and the scar is almost invisible after a period of 3 to 6 months. So the answer is simple. If you want a subtle change and you want a quick recovery, then a non-surgical facelift is the answer. It's quick and it gives you a fresh look and there are no telltale signs that a procedure has been done. However, if you need a natural result and a more long-lasting result, then the surgical facelift is the answer. If you found this video helpful, then hit the like button, subscribe and ring the bell icon so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.